Hi, this is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking, streaming live. Want to make sure that everything is connected here, because I'm going back to my old base of streaming. There you go. Thanks, Ulrich, for joining in. Today is Monday, as far as I know, and decided to go live besides the usual Wednesday streams. Maybe see what's going on in the trucking industry and talk to you guys and see if we can find some topics to talk about today. And I do have things prepared, so we should be busy, hopefully. And this chat box, for some reason, I tried connecting it. Oh yeah, I see it. I guess it is working. Let me try to. There we go. I think this should do it that way. Okay, that doesn't look bad, I guess. Cool. Today I have some topics prepared, and I wanted to go in order. So maybe this is kind of a test as well to see if it will work this way. So I wanted to talk to you about what I had in plan. I wanted to set a schedule for each stream where we have topics. Yes, it's a surprise live. Where we have set topics for each stream. So each time I can talk about updates about certain things, and we could stick to them. And then if we have questions, we could either reserve a slot for the answers or go as we see them. So first thing I wanted to talk about, for example, would be diesel prices, like an update on that, weather, traffic. Then we can look at the last week loads on DAT, what they looked like. I have to text back here. And last week loads for Usora Express for our company, to tell you what kind of loads we did. And we could talk about economy, domestic economy and international economy and news, and how that affects the trucking and how it might affect for the next week or the current week. Tomorrow's load forecasts or for the next week, trucking topics, and other things as well. Okay, so let's start with diesel prices. So I just set up this background and all of that. So let's see if this is gonna work. Okay. So diesel prices, it's always a nice sign and a factor in determining the load prices and kind of predicting what's going to happen. As we can see here, these are the diesel prices for the last year, and they went down in December. This is the lowest part. Like in July last year, the average for diesel was 3.86 per gallon. But if you see here in December, it went to 3.45. So 40 cents down in 6 months, and that was in December. And then they started climbing up again here. And now we are at a low point as well. So they're same or very similar as they were in December. So that's not a good prediction for the forecast for the coming rates. It's a good thing that the owner operators are not spending as much for their fuel, because the load rates are not that great either. So at least they can get a break as far as the fuel prices go. But let me text back here. But if the fuel prices go down, then that's not a that's not a good sign for us in trucking, right? So we want steady prices. We want them to be stable. We don't want them to go up and down, because that's not good, right? So hopefully they're gonna stabilize. Like if they stay here, that's gonna be good, no. But if they go up and down, in my opinion, that's not a good sign. Okay, so see, this is for 1 month. It just keeps going down. For 3 months, keeps going down. So we'll see what's gonna happen with that. Here on our TMS that we built ourselves, we have this nice little integration that shows us and the dispatchers the weather, what the weather is going to be like. I would have to ask Camera if drivers can see this as well, but I don't see why they wouldn't be able. So this is also a nice thing for them to see and check what the weather is going to be like. So this is exclusive to us, and you can change a lot of things here in the weather. And weather is affecting the trucking and the markets, and you can kind of predict. I was looking at it yesterday, and I guess you can kind of predict, and I'll talk about that the next day, where you might have decent prices if you send a truck to an area with a bad weather outlook. Now, this doesn't have to be right every time, and of course, if we have a big hurricane or some tornadoes, then that it wouldn't be a wise thing to send a driver there. But if there is a snowstorm expected and a driver does not mind going there, they're going after the money. And a lot of times these weather conditions do not get that bad, because in the United States, that's one thing in the United States that kind of amazes me, that weather is really a thing. Because where I come from, no one cares about the weather. It's like you go outside, you look through the window, and it's what it is. And over there, if it rains, it's gonna rain for days, sometimes for weeks. If it's sunny, if it's hot, it's gonna stay like that for weeks and days, and you just know. But here, especially, we are right here by, you can see from my head, I'm right here. And here in Michigan, the weather is unpredictable. The whole Michigan, but especially close to the lake, or any lake here. But we get this lake effect weather from Lake Michigan here all the time, because I'm like 30 miles away from the lake. And it's always changing, and you never know. And it's fun to watch it. My kids are very into weather, and they like to watch it. There's this guy that streams on YouTube live every time there's a thunderstorm. Hi, Yahya. And this affects trucking. And if you're a dispatcher and you don't care about weather, then I must say you're not doing everything that you should. You can't be a weatherman. You can't call all drivers every time there is something. But if there is something big, then you should know that. You should let the drivers know, and you can maybe use that as a negotiation leverage in your negotiation tactics. You can you can ask for more money depending on that, I guess. Hi, Mark, Andrew. Like this, I think it was this Friday or a Saturday. I can't, it was Thursday night. It was Thursday night last week. We had 2 tornadoes here. One was in Grand Rapids here in Caledonia, and one was south of Grand Rapids. It was in Martin, Michigan, and they touched the ground. And we kept kept watching it on TV. The sirens were going on for at least an hour, non-stop. You can hear the sirens outside, wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour, and 2 tornadoes. And my kids were watching, and I was watching too, because it's kind of interesting. You can ask questions, here anytime, and we will try to get to them as soon as we can. And please give me the more specifics you give me, the better I can answer the question. If you can go a little bit into details and give me some background and the specific question that you have. But sometimes it's hard to guess. If you just ask me a question in one short sentence, it's hard to guess what you exactly mean by that. So I looked at the weather. I see 2 tornadoes. They're forming. They're they're touching the ground, and then they keep going towards east, because they started at Lake Michigan over by Benton Harbor, Holland Beach area, in that area, and then they kept going east. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to Motive app and looking where the drivers are, because we have, I think, 5 or 6 owner operators here from this area, and there's a big chance that they're gonna be here, maybe coming home or driving through Michigan. So I immediately go to my app and look if any of these drivers are here and if they're driving, but there was no one here, so I didn't have to alert anyone. Like one of our drivers last year, there was a big tornado in Weberville, Michigan, and he was at Aldi delivering there. And I called him and I told him, hey, there is a tornado warning, and I know you're in that Aldi. And take cover. And he's like, oh no, it should be fine. I wanted to go back home to Grand Rapids. No, you gotta take cover. And for some reason, he thought that it would be safe. And then he drove through that weather. And he, the next morning, all the trees were down. And the trees are still looking like that after a year or so. When you go past Weberville on I-96, if you look, like when I'm going east and I look on the left, all those trees are cut down halfway down, like that. Wyoming number. This must be a dispatcher. Okay. Now, right now the temperature is weird. Here in Grand Rapids, 43, 47, 50. This is weird. It's middle of May and it's so cold. And they have snow in Colorado, in Utah, in the mountain regions here, in Wyoming. It's crazy. But if you look down here, it's really hot. This is really hot, as it's normal. But this is not normal. So if we go to thunderstorms right now, then you can kind of see where the thunderstorms are. Now, if you have drivers here, most likely they know what's going on, or if they're going there, they most likely will check the weather. But you as a dispatcher, maybe you should take this into consideration when looking for loads, when setting up appointments, and when planning on deliveries and on the pickups for the next day or for 2 days ahead, because this here most likely it's going to continue going east or northeast from here, right? Okay. See, the winds are not that strong. Now here's another fun thing. This is from Weather Underground. This is also updated live. And here you can add, you know, a radar as well. And other things on the right hand side. There was the one for temperature, I think. Temperature. Active fires, cool. Yeah, they have active fires too. Now this is interesting. Here, green is a small craft advisory. So that's usually close to coast. Okay. So they have that here. But orange is red flag warning for the fires. So if you see this here, you kind of, you know, as a dispatcher or as a driver, you can kind of keep that in mind when booking loads. And even when like I said, even when negotiating rates. Blue, I think, is wind gusts. It's wind advisory. So blue, your driver, like you can kind of let your driver know, or they can look it up here and see where the winds are going to be. This is, I think, frost warning, freeze watch. And they still have they still have freeze watches. Even here, look at this. In New York and in Pennsylvania, they have freeze watches. And then green is flood watch. So here, this could be concerning, right? Fire watch, okay, that's just a watch. Active fires, they have 2 right here. But if you see flood watch or tornado warnings, because they will have them in red squares, tornado warnings, then that's something to be careful about. Okay, so this is the forecast for today until tomorrow, and it will say here until Tuesday at 11. So today is Monday. When you're looking for loads to these areas here, you know, like this area here, this is very windy. You can kind of look at this and see what's gonna go. Or you can watch this channel and we can inform you. What else do we have? Traffic is also important as a dispatcher and as a driver to know what's going on with traffic. If you zoom in Google Maps, you will be able to see live traffic in more detail. Usually in the mornings, we will have rush hours. Over there on West Coast, it's 9 a.m. and they have these rush hours. And Los Angeles is always terrible as far as the traffic goes. So if you're in LA, I mean, good luck, man. I used to go there all the time, long time ago. And it was... It's not like the East Coast. East Coast is more crowded and more narrow. You have all the buildings, all the narrow streets. Everything is like on top of you. Like you feel like you're squeezed in. Give me 1 second. In on the West Coast in California, in LA, it's all open. You can see the fields, the mountains, the hills, and there's not that much grass. Everything is either yellow or brown, and it's just open. And in the middle of nowhere, they have these 4-6 lane highways, and it's just all the cars are sitting next to each other. It's just cars. It's just a road and thousands of cars. And that's crazy over there. And they have all that traffic. Here they had those wildfires, and they still have these road closed. And then similar thing in San Francisco. But if you go to New York City, also they have this traffic all the time here. It's noon over there. There should not be that much traffic, but look at this. It's just crazy. But here I know, like in Grand Rapids, if you move in, and I know this here, if you're on M37, this is very close to us here, this part. And this is one of the main state routes here in West Michigan, M37, especially here through town. And they just closed this all the way north. From here, from Patterson, almost to 36th Street. But I use this street a lot, so, you know, they closed it here. So you have to kind of find your way around. And they have a lot of businesses here. So as a local truck driver or someone that lives here, you kind of should know that, and maybe even your dispatcher should know that. It's not crucial, but it's nice to know. But then if you zoom in into cities, for example, if you have a truck delivering in Detroit, especially in the northern metro area, then you can kind of see here that 696 is closed. This is eastbound. All the way here from M24. I think M24 is that famous telegraph road. Yeah, it is. So from M24 all the way to I-75. So if you're sending your driver to pick up, let's say from here from Lansing or from Weberville on this side, then you should kind of take this into account. So any city that you move in, you will see something that's closed. Like here, these on-ramps for I-48, I-480, and I-77, they're closed. So we can play with that every time in some of these streams. Let's take a look at the questions. See, this is weird because this is not updating these questions. I'll just delete this and I'll mess with this later. Oh, well, now it shows. Here we go. That's weird. Yahya is asking, can I work with 3 owners? I went to start this and they tell me you start one. Yahya, I really don't understand what you're saying here. If you can check your spelling and you got 3 owners and I'm sorry to tell you, but your English, like you have to improve your English if you want to dispatch trucks. You have to really improve your English. Ideally, momčino. It's a nice beginning of after a week after the DOT Blitz week, and this week we might see some DOT inspections as well. I think we did okay last week for the inspections. We had 2 guys that were stopped for inspections. One was on Thursday, one was on Saturday actually, and it was a couple of minor things. One had like his windshield washer fluid wasn't spraying, so I guess it was okay. The rates were also okay. I saw a lot of brokers complaining about the rates. We did well as well here in Usora Express as far as our rates go with our owner operators. It wasn't anything crazy. I will talk about that in a minute. Might as well talk about that right now. Okay. this is our week 20. That's the last week that we did. So that was that DOT Blitz week. So the rates were not bad. Detroit, Michigan to Illinois, 800. Usually loads from Michigan to Illinois are not that great anyway. So this was something to get this guy out. But if you see this on Florida to St. Louis, Missouri for 26.45, that's not bad from Florida. Texas to San Bernardino, 1900. He was going home. South Dakota to Iowa, 1000. Also not bad. Indiana to Florida, 2000. Des Moines to Cayenne Wells, Colorado, 1850. That's also not bad. We know that we're going to suffer from Colorado, but still. Denver to Roswell, New Mexico, 1375. Also not that bad. North Carolina to Florida, 1325. Iowa to Ohio, 1250. Florida to Ohio, 1950. Also not bad. What else? Florida to Indiana, 1650. Cleveland to Byron Center, 670. That's, I guess, the standard rate. New York to Byron Center, 1000. Not bad, because it's a backhaul load. We usually get over $3 to get there. Illinois to San Antonio, 27. That's also good. Thank you, B21A. Nebraska to Michigan, 1650. Grand Rapids to Hartwell, Ohio, 1000. That's also not bad. Decatur, Indiana to New York, 1650. That's good. Georgia to North Carolina, 1000. Also good. Indiana to Iowa, 13. Colorado to Fort Wayne, 1000. It was okay. I think he was going home. So it's not great, but it's okay. This one is just to get him out, I guess, from Colorado to Iowa. New York to Ashley, 950. Not bad at all. Michigan to South Dakota, nice, 2750. Nevada to Colorado, 25. That's good. Ohio, Indiana, 850. Florida to Indiana, 21. Auburn, Indiana to Rochester, 14. That's good. Also 24, not bad. This one is not bad to Florida as well. These are some shorter loads. Iowa to Colorado, 28. This one also, it's kind of like a shorter load, so these are not bad as well. Over $3 per mile. And then what else did we have here? Also some shorter loads. Okay, that's not bad. I'm gonna talk shortly about owner-operators and Usora Express. If you're an owner-operator and you're looking for a change, you're looking for someone to give their 125% or more, look no further. Usora Express, we want to work with you. As an owner-operator with your own semi-truck, you can book a consultation with me, and we can talk about everything and see how you could do better. Here, you will get 88% of the gross revenue of the load, direct deposit, original rate confirmation, fuel cards with discounts. So right now, I see fuel discounts with our fuel card, 55 to 65 cents per gallon on Pilot and Flying J, which is really cool, and other truck stops as well. The fuel app, you have access to the updated diesel discounts, a dedicated dispatcher, no force dispatch. You can rent a trailer, you choose where and when to go, and an access to our app. I actually made a video about the app, and I uploaded yesterday to YouTube. And then requirements, you have to have at least 2 years of CDLA experience. You have to pass a drug test and clearinghouse, no SAP, DUI, and driver has to be approved by our insurance. Okay, what's next? I wanted to talk about DAT load prices, and then I'm gonna see if I can load into the DAT load board and take a look at the load board updates as far as the prices go. I'm gonna ask Amro here a question. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, let me log into the load board, into DAT, if it lets me. Okay, here we go. Come on. Log in. And tools. I'm gonna bring it here to the screen. Okay, you can see it. Before we go there, let me see. We had I want to join this after here. How to get new drivers? Okay, so Mark, Andrew, you have a few videos on my channel about getting new drivers and cold calling and advertising your services and how to work with that. So just look through my channel and you'll see some videos about that. Okay. Market conditions. Okay. These are for van. And I will make myself smaller. This is for a van for prior business day for Friday, since today is Monday the 19th. And it doesn't look that great. Most of these states here are blue, which means very loose capacity. So if we zoom in, we can see more details. As usual, the south and southeast are doing the best right now. What's interesting here, that Grand Rapids market is not that great. So if we, well, let's see what, because this was a DOT blitz week. And if we go the whole week, like we see prior 8 business days and prior 1 business day, it's very similar. So that's surprising that all of this was just loose. Detroit is usually much worse than Grand Rapids area. And that week, last week, that wasn't the case. Even this area here is blue. West Virginia, there are not that many loads from West Virginia or this area. But look at this. This is crazy. Load to truck ratio was 6, right? Yep. 6 loads per truck. But Florida was very tight. That's also, it's not surprising because the produce season has started. But for vans, like you would expect this more for our reefers. Also this area here, it was very tight. That's also weird. Ohio historically also is not a great state to be in, no matter where you go. But I guess it was tight. Same with Indiana. If you look at Chicago area here, and Wisconsin, and Minnesota, and Iowa, also this, it's also very weird. Everything is shifting. There are no rules. We are getting really good loads from Florida right now. We do have one guy, we do have one dispatcher that has a good broker, and he has a good connection with that broker. And now we're not afraid to send our trucks to Florida anymore, because we have at least, I think, 3 owner-operators from Florida right now. And we are not afraid to send them to Florida right now, because we can get decent rates from there with this broker. It's good until you start crying. Don't cry. So the markets have shifted for the vans. Now let's take a look for at flatbeds. Flatbeds are doing good. Right now, you can book a load for open deck trailers over $3 per mile. And if you look at this area here, let's see if there's any difference between Friday and I guess it doesn't want to show it in prior 8 days, prior 30 days, same current day. Current day it's even better than prior 8 days. Look at this. Look at this. Let's just do prior 8 days, because this is for the past week. If you have a flatbed, even Northern Michigan, come on. If you have a flatbed right now, you can do decent. You can do decent. And please, if you have a dry van and you want to make more money, please switch to flatbeds, so dry vans can have more freight. we have 2 owner operators right now with a flatbed, and they're doing okay. One is from Texas, and he likes to go to Arizona, Nevada, here, Colorado, New Mexico. He also went to California the other day, to LA, so he likes to do that one. But we have one guy here from Illinois. He likes to go all over here. Okay, but make sure if you have a flatbed that you have all the equipment, so you're not missing any loads. Okay, but if you look at the market conditions, it looks really good. Like, you can go anywhere here and make money. Okay, you don't have to go here, because this here is same. Look at this. So this is exactly the same for almost the same for dry vans and for flatbeds. If we switch to van, see, blue. Go to flatbed, this area here, still blue, very loose. There is really nothing here. I drove many times here, and here there's nothing. It's just little cities, little towns and villages, not much industry. But if you're on a flatbed, man, you can do decent money. See, like, very tight. All of these are very tight. Load to truck ratio 130. 100, is that crazy? Now, I spoke about these maps, DAT, market condition maps, and other factors, and they're not 100% correct. They're not even close to 100%. Maybe like 80% correct. And I spoke about it a few times, because there are a lot of double postings, a lot of multiple delivery loads, a lot of round trips, and that all messes up the statistics. But still, look at this. This area here, okay? This is Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. What's the Huntsville? Let's say Huntsville, Alabama here. Or they call it Decatur market. 27 trucks, that's the average. 27 trucks and 3,500 loads. I don't know if that's correct, but still, that's a big number. What about here? 84, the load to truck ratio, 84. Yeah, these are some crazy numbers. Okay. Just answering my messages. Conestogas. Conestogas, I actually drove that for 6 months. They're, you know, Conestogas and side curtains or curtain sides are very similar. Conestogas are more open than the curtain side. I don't even know what. Hold on one second. Yeah, it's a curtain side trailer. Because I'm like, which one is it? Curtain side trailer, usually like you can slide off the one of the sides or both sides and open up the. It usually has a swing door in the back, and you can just slide it. But they usually have posts in the center, and that's kind of limiting you. But Conestogas, they have this U-shaped bar on top, and then the tarps that are attached to it, they slide and they move. As you're pushing it. So that's really convenient for a driver. You don't have to tarp, you know, climb up on top of the load and do everything manually. You just slide that and slide it back. And that's it. That's really cool. But it could be limiting because sometimes flatbed loads could be odd, shaped oddly, and that could prevent you from getting some loads. But curtains, the Conestogas are very similar. You know, most loads that you put on your flatbed, you can do on Conestoga. Sometimes you will see a broker asking specifically for a Conestoga, but they're very similar. So I would just put them here in the same category, and very similar to step decks as well. Step decks, you know, the only thing that they will let you do is get a higher, you know, higher load. You can load it on your truck, or like I said, maybe some kind of machinery, you know, for construction that they need to load it onto that step deck trailer. But then again, you will have to have ramps and other things for most of those things. So step deck will let you do product that has bigger dimensions, height dimensions. Okay, so some dispatchers are dealing only with Conestogas and step decks. Yeah, that's right now. That's a good thing. In winter, it's still okay, but in summer, yeah, man, that's the season. That's when you want those. And you have to have a driver, a very responsible driver that knows what they're doing, and someone that's willing to do that. And for company drivers, I really don't see much difference in pay as opposed to drive-in. It would pay a little bit better for the flatbed, and maybe they will have some extra tarping fees, stuff like that. But in general, it might be just a preference for the driver because they like to be outside, they like to work out, they like the challenge. But I wouldn't drive a flatbed unless it was paying much more than a driver or a reefer, because it's much harder to do. Let's take a look at the reefers. This is for the prior 8 days. Reefers, you know, towards the end of the season, we hope to see more reefer freight here from the West Coast. Right now, we do have reefer freight from Southern California here. And as expected here in Southeast. And then this here is spotty. It's not that great. You do have some tight markets, and you have some moderately tight. This here is not doing great. So if you, we have one reefer right now, and he's also doing okay. He's from Florida, but he mostly does southeast and Midwest with his reefer. Okay, but I feel if you really want to make some really good freight, some really good money with the reefer, you would have to go coast to coast or do something really short and something that you have consistent. You know, you can sometimes get a really short load for good money, especially with reefer, but it's not like the problem is those long pickup and delivery times or multiple deliveries, and then you lose a lot of time there. And you can't, it's hard to do them consistently, these shorter loads. Sometimes you can fill out a gap here and there, but if you can get a really good load from coast to coast, or like, you know, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 miles, and sometimes they will have multiple deliveries. And if you can get one of those good loads to go one direction, and then, you know, end up in a good area as well, and then come back, and it will take you maybe 2 weeks to do that, or 1.5 weeks. But I think you can make really good money that way if you just, like you see, like go from here to here or to here, and then switch back from here. But if you try to these regional loads for like 6, 5, 6, 7, 800 mile loads, nah, it's still doable. But look at this. Usually the markets are more, what's the word? Concentrated, right? The markets, the market area that's next to you usually is similar. If you look at the van, see, like this is very similar. This here is the same. This is very similar. And same thing with flatbed, right? Same here. But with the reefer, it's just spotty, right? Very tight, neutral, slightly loose, very loose, and then again tight, moderately tight, very tight. Same thing here. It's just spotty, right? You have to be a real expert as a dispatcher and as an owner operator to figure out where to go with that reefer next, and what your whole plan is going to be for the whole week. And also, the reefer markets keep changing all the time. For van, it's usually the same the whole year. Like the whole year, it's just the same, except for these conditions that we have right now, and they have nothing to do with seasonality. It's just the markets. That's why this changed. Like this is good now, and this is usually bad, and this is usually good, but now it's bad. So that has nothing to do with seasonal freight. Flatbed usually changes between summer and winter, but reefer, it just keeps changing all the time, every week, every month, every season. There is something going on in this state, there is something going on in this region. So with a reefer, you really have to be good. Not just, you know, you even have to have a better dispatcher than like that, because the dispatcher sees this. You as a driver, usually you don't see this, but your dispatcher has to be really good. Okay, I spoke to the truck owners and asked them to give me work. My question, can one account work for 3 owners? So, as a dispatcher, yeah, why not? They have those weird dispatcher rules right now, like FMCSA came up with some rules, and some drivers and owners and brokers will argue because these rules are open to interpretation. And some of them will argue that you cannot have more than one owner operator. But I don't see why you couldn't work with 3 or 10 owners. there's nothing better than a freezer for the truck. Yeah, if you know what you're doing, yeah. Reefers you can do really good money if you're willing to put up with odd hours and multiple deliveries and long waiting times. But you really have to know what you're doing with the reefer, and of course be careful about the temperature. I read the other day, yesterday actually, there are some brokers that really don't pay attention to the temperature on the rate confirmation. So sometimes they will just put, whatever, let's say 32 degrees, and the driver would get to the shipper, and shipper would tell them otherwise, like a big temperature difference. So if you as a driver are not communicating and triple checking that, you can be in big trouble. Because if you listen to the shipper and the shipper doesn't know, because that happens a lot too, you do something wrong if you don't consult with the broker. If you do as the broker says, then you might do something wrong again. But you have to go back and forth between broker and the shipper if there is a discrepancy in the temperature. And you gotta make sure what's the right. How do you do that? Well, you can ask the shipper and tell the shipper, hey, okay, this is what I have on the rate confirmation. Broker is insisting that this is the right temperature, and you're telling me otherwise. Please put down the temperature here on the bill of lading and sign or initial next to that. And most of those shippers will not do that, right? Because they don't want the liability, they don't want the responsibility for that. But you have to make them do that. If they don't do it, just don't do the load. Don't do the load. If that, so you gotta be careful, whether it's continuous or not, and stuff like that. You have to be really careful about the temperature. Temperature is a must. Like when you draw medics, it must work constant. Yeah. I wouldn't, I'd rather, I don't know what's worse, an inexperienced flatbed driver or inexperienced reefer driver. And I'm hesitant to get someone on board, someone here, if I'm not sure that they have the proper training and the experience in either one of those equipments. As a flatbed driver, it's mostly the safety. It's the safety is the biggest concern, and then of course a claim for damaged freight. But for reefer, it's mostly a claim concern. It has nothing to do with the safety. It's mostly about the claims, but those claims can be big, and one little mistake, you can have a claim on your reefer freight. Okay. Do we have any other questions? There was a question that I promised to answer to someone the other day. Let me find that question. Oh, I think that was something about, that was like a big topic that he asked me about. So I'm going to look for that question here and see what it was. Okay. Well, let's go through multiple of these questions here. I'm going to bring the screen with the comments. The reefer trailer must be always clean and smell fresh. Here in Europe, they decline if it isn't. Yeah, same here. Same here. As far as the food goes, very strict rules. It's same here. There cannot be any other. In the trailer has to be clean. Okay, let's look at some of the questions that we had here. Are there actually any companies that a person with a new CDL can lease onto? Seems all the ones I've talked to want at least 6 months experience or 1 to 2 years. Yeah, here in Usora Express, it's 2 years, and that's because of the insurance requirements. I cannot do anything. So most of these companies that you're looking into, 99% of the time, it's the insurance requirement. It depends what kind of insurance you have, and that depends on how long you have been in the business, how many trucks you have, things like that. So if you have been in the business for 20 years and you have 1,000 trucks, your insurance will give you better terms as far as the driver requirements go. There will be usually more loose terms. And as a smaller company, you will usually have more strict rules, and that's the case with us and most other companies, because most trucking companies in the United States are small, and that has to do with insurance. California DMV is such a headache to deal with. We send them our IRP renewal packet via USPS certified mail, and they never got it, so we had to email it to them. They do not have an office, so it's a nightmare. As I spoke in that video here about the IRP, this video that I released the other day, and this video, if you are an owner-operator or you're a potential owner-operator, you have to watch this video about the IRP. There are so many rules with the IRP, people just don't realize that. They, let's say you got your own truck and you want it registered. Some owner-operators will go through a plate program with a carrier. Some carriers will offer that. We also have it's a program, and it's on case-by-case basis for the IRP here. So it depends on a lot of factors. But sometimes we can do that. We can give you our plates, because I do have my own IRP account. California is bad. Anything in California is bad. Anything that has to do with anything, especially trucks. It's just strict and so many rules. But other IRPs are not that great either. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Texas, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Man, Florida, I don't know, like they do have a lot of requirements, but they will get it done. But California is bad. Most of them after COVID, they closed their offices and they work from home only, or remotely. And you cannot even go there. You have to email everything, and when you call, you have to wait. And even if you email something, it takes them weeks to check that. Michigan is really good. Michigan is really good. I mean, I'm so fortunate that we are in this state here. I'm not sure right now, in order to get a new account, how long it takes, but I'm sure it's not that long like in other states. Other states, you go in, or you call them, they're just going to tell you right away, hey, it's going to be 2 months until we can get your account approved. And imagine that you have your truck, you bought it, you waited for that, and you have everything. And now you're thinking, okay, well, all I have to have is a plate, because with your car, you go to DMV or Secretary of State, and you get the plates usually same day, or a temporary plate. With IRP, not so fast. It's gonna take you weeks or months to get even approved for that account. Once you get the account, and if you want to add more trucks, it should be much easier. But in Michigan, no, it's really great. Hopefully they're not gonna change. But you used to be able to go to Lansing. You go in there, and they will tell you right away what you need. And then you can call your office or someone at home, and they can email it to them or fax it to them, and they would take care of it right away. Right now, they also close their offices. Everything right now is done remotely as well, but there are no long waiting times when you call them. and they have a website where you can upload everything, start new registration, print the temporary permits, pay for everything. You can change the plates, order new plates, switch between equipment. It's really good here in Michigan. So this guy here was asking this question, but this is more I'm gonna try to answer this right here, right now, a little bit, and maybe make a new video or talk in one of the upcoming streams. I'll make a note for myself here to talk about that. Maybe in another stream. New to the industry, we'll be waiting for your next live, and I would like you to tell all about the requirements and necessary things for newcomers in this industry. What to do to get new truckers and how to carry them with me for long. Although all the videos are great and quite informative, but I would like you to sum up everything in one video. Yeah, so I could maybe talk about it. Actually, I do have a video that talks about how to get drivers and keep them, but that was more, I think, oriented more towards company drivers, not towards owner operators. But it works in a very similar manner. We've been streaming for 1 hour. That's cool. What to do to get new truckers? You have to be, I guess, you have to stand out somehow. And that has to do, it's like 101 marketing. Anything you do marketing for, you have to stand out and be creative. My thing is this YouTube channel. And that happened on an accident. I wasn't planning that. But I realized that we have a lot of owner-operators who are reaching out to us because of the YouTube channel. Because when they see me, they get to know me and they get to judge me and the company and get a feeling of what they can expect and whether I'm going to be honest with them and take care of them. So they like that. And then I would sometimes occasionally say, hey, if you're an owner-operator, check out what we have to offer, or sometimes make a video about something that could help owner-operators as well, and then ask them at the end, hey, if you're interested, you can lease on to us. Or I could specifically make a video and tell everyone, hey, this is what we have to offer. It's my channel. No one is preventing me to do that. I can do that. I just don't want to do it all the time. Maybe like once in a month or once every 2 months. Make a video that specifically is asking owner-operators to come to us and work with us and check us out. Give us a try. Sorry. So if you're trying to get drivers, no matter if it's a company driver or whatever you're doing, dispatching someone or leasing on, try to do something that stands out. It doesn't have to be a YouTube channel. It could be any other social network, like Instagram or TikTok, Facebook, or some kind of other way of sticking out, and not, because there are thousands of others that are trying to do the same thing, no matter what industry you are in, and you have to do something that no one else is doing. Maybe come up with a catchy way or a funny way or an interesting way of attracting people and talking to them. It could also be paid ads, but paid ads, that's not that easy, and you have to be consistent and know what you're doing. And I don't mess with that. I tried that a few times, but then every time I come back to the YouTube channel, because for me, that works. So you have to find what works for you, write down all the ideas that you have, do some research, on internet, ask ChatGPT. It could help. So do get all those ideas of how we can market your services, whatever you're doing, and try a few of them, and see how it works and get better. Like if you see, like if you have like 10 ideas, you take like 3 or 4 of them and you try 3 or 4 of them, and then you narrow it down to maybe 1 or 2, and then give everything to those 1 or 2, and then just keep doing it. Same like in social, if you're doing social network marketing, if you keep posting every day, I'm sure it will take a long time to get your message out there. But if you're consistent, good things will come. How to keep the drivers? Well, if you want to keep drivers on our own operators, in my opinion, the biggest thing that drivers right now will appreciate is you being honest and available, right? That's the biggest thing that they're asking for, because right now the markets are same everywhere. I can't promise you crazy rates, or if someone else promises you crazy rates, it's a red flag. They probably cannot fulfill those promises. So most drivers will know, hey, you might get a better rate per mile in a certain company, because the dispatchers have experience, that they do care, that they will do everything they can. So there could be a little difference, and that's what I always say here, that we will go out of our way to find you better loads that are all out there. But you can't, if the brokers are paying $2, $2.20 an average for that lane, it's gonna be hard to get $4 for that lane. We could probably get you to like $2.80 or $3, or maybe better. But to get something crazy, it's not gonna work anywhere. But if we communicate, if we plan their trips, if we're honest with them as far as the pay goes, as far as the transparency goes, and rate confirmations, the appointments, all of that, and if they have a problem, and if they call us and we're not answering, or we're putting them on hold, and we don't solve those problems, in a professional manner, then they will go away. They will go someplace else, because that's not so. So it's everything to, if you want to keep the driver and owner operator with you, or anyone, like anything else you do in any industry, it's mostly it narrows down to being available and willing to help and honest, right? So that's a big thing. Let me see. Okay, this is what we had here. If you have more questions, you can ask me here. Let's go back to the markets, because we were talking about markets. So what now, if you want to see the 8-day forecast here on DAT load board, you have to upgrade the subscription, and I really don't think that's worth that money. I don't even know how much it costs to get the higher up subscription for the DAT load board, but to us, I don't think it would matter much. Like I could maybe benefit if I knew where a good area, like if something is going to change on this map, because like we said, reefer freight keeps changing. So I could benefit, like today is Monday, if I know like how this is going to look on Wednesday, right? I could benefit from that. But how accurate that's going to be from the AT load board, it's a prediction, it's a forecast, right? So it's not going to be 100% right. What if I send someone that it tells me that like West Virginia is going to be a good market next week or in 8 days? I don't know if that's going to be correct, right? But what I think this week is going to look like, because today is Monday after the DOT week, what I think that it's probably gonna be worse than last week. Maybe not that much worse, because DOT is still out there. Sometimes they like to be sneaky, and some states, will not even participate in the DOT Blitz week for the last week. They will wait for this week, or they might prolong it. So that also could affect the rates this week. Okay, I don't think it's gonna go to very bad like it was a week before that, but I don't think it's gonna be that great either. What we can plan on most likely is that, like, if you see like van freight, it's probably gonna be very much similar to this. So don't plan your trucks to be on a Friday here in this area, because we used to do that all the time. Right now, it's not gonna be smart to have your truck here on Thursday or on Friday if you have to go there. If you can avoid these areas, just don't go there at all. If you can keep your truck here, I'm talking about dry vans right now. If you can keep your truck here in this area this week, I think you should be doing okay. Avoid this here, because it's not gonna change much. Virginia as well, here, Kansas, Colorado for sure. If you're here on the West Coast, if you live here, if you drive here, maybe I could concentrate on these two states and maybe do something short, or you could go to Texas. But as we saw with one of our drivers that's going back to California from Texas, from Dallas to LA, it doesn't pay that well. Okay, but you can try that. Maybe go here to South. So if you're based in West, maybe you can go back and forth between these areas, but I don't know much about it. That's not to say that there is no freight here, right? They do have freight here. It's not that bad, but it doesn't look good when you look at this map and it's all blue. It really doesn't look good. Let's go back to tools here. Let's go to rate view. Oh no, sorry, that was a trend line. We got a trend line. Okay. Now this is the weekly snapshot by the numbers. I do like to compare these. Like I said, I always argue that these DAT rates are not 100% correct, not even close to that, but you can kind of compare them and get a feeling of what happened last week versus the previous week, or April 2025 versus March 2025, or year, like April 2025 versus April 2024. So these are the spot load posts. 30% more posts if you compare last week to a week before that. So it probably has to do with the DOT week. Month to month, 3% more, and year to year, 17% more, which is, promising. Spot truck posts, minus 9%. So again, DOT week, a lot of drivers chose not to drive last week. So maybe we could say that 10% of the trucks were not driving. Maybe. I don't know. But see, this is very interesting if you think about this. If you go to, let's go to LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn because of the brokers crying. They're like, whenever there is something going on, it's always a fight between carriers and brokers. Brokers are yelling, carriers are bad. Carriers are yelling, brokers are greedy. Okay. So if you, when I go here to my account, like especially last week, brokers were crying how carriers were asking like $500,000 more for lanes, a lane rate difference for the same lane just a week ago. Let's see if we can find one of those posts. Now this guy is saying that brokers and shippers should prepare now because of the 90-day pause on China tariffs, and they think that the rates are gonna go up because of the freight volume. Okay, so we'll see about that. Let's find some of those. Sure. Yeah, a lot of very smart people here, like they know everything about tariffs and all of that. Where are those posts? You know, we could talk the whole day just looking at these posts and then commenting on them. But I'm looking for those posts where they're crying about... You didn't update about that female driver that wouldn't drive. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't see those. Like, they probably went away because this is 1 week before that. What if we look for a DOT Blitz week? Okay, here's one. And he's from TQL. How do you know it's a DOT blitz? You get Sprinter vans asking for $2+ a mile. Well, maybe that's fair. Blah, blah, blah. DOT Blitz Week just wrapped, and as expected, rates climbed and capacity tightened. But here is the real question. When the market shifts, are you still a partner? Partnership. So, okay, this is the... Every time the load rates go down, brokers will tell us how we need to watch the markets, and they cannot pay us because that's how the markets are, right? And it's just take it or leave it, because if you don't understand that, maybe you shouldn't be in trucking industry. You know, that's how the markets are, and that's how much they pay. But when the tables turn and when the markets tighten and we ask for more money, then brokers will all of a sudden talk to us about partnerships, how we need to have a long-term partnership with them, and you know, it goes both ways. Yeah, that's like it. What do we have here as comment? Yeah, whatever. What happened with that female driver that wouldn't drive? Well, there was we did I did release a video how the police kicked her out of the truck, and we don't know where she went. We never heard back from her. She was saying something about the owner of the truck, you know, like suing or whatever, but that it doesn't make any sense. But the problem is that he had another driver, he hired another driver, and that driver gave him trouble, like, you know, something very similar. And then he let that driver go, and then he wanted to hire another one. And I don't want to go into details, you know, on a live stream about why that driver wasn't hired, but we found out that that driver did something really bad, and this guy was like, man, I can't take it anymore. You know, this owner of that truck, he just says, I can't take it anymore. 3 drivers in a row, all this trouble. I guess that was a sign for him. She was just squatting the truck. Yeah, I think they took her to a shelter or something, and with her, I don't know what, like, what's her background, but sometimes I do feel sorry for people when I think that they might have, you know, even mental issues, and there should be a way to screen people for those mental health issues. What else do we have? I think that's it for today. We've been streaming for an hour and a half right now. We had some nice questions, and then I'll try. Yeah, I didn't want to say that. I just don't know. Like, you know, here in the United States, like, sometimes you gotta be careful what you say, you know. But yeah. Let me know what you think about this concept. If, you know, like, every time we can check for weather and traffic and load rates for the past week, or for the future week, or for tomorrow, even for tomorrow, and send me suggestions, something we should talk about. I wanted actually to talk about, let's go through trucking news real quick. This ELD mandate. Let's talk about that. Right now, there are 2 of these agencies, trucking agencies, that will have their own interests. Man, look at this, like, subscribe, notifications. Come on, just stop. All these pop-ups. All websites, they do that right now. ATA tells DOT to keep electronic logging devices mandate. OOIDA, the dispute safety benefits. Please, like, and the thing with these ELDs is that all of a sudden right now, when the Trump administration asked everyone to submit their suggestions, what can be improved, what can be changed for the ELDs, all of a sudden ATA, you know, and this the owner operator association, they keep fighting about, like, what's in the best interest for the driver. They are trying to see if they can change some of the ELD rules. I don't think the ELD is gonna go away, because billions of dollars were invested in that, and all driving companies have them right now. But they're talking about relaxing some rules and changing the way the hours of service work, and that wouldn't be the first time that happened. In last few years, nothing major has changed, except for the fact that they brought that 30-minute break after 8 hours on duty. Or right now, I think actually they changed it silently to 8 hours of driving. Because if you remember in the beginning, when they came up with that 30-minute break rule after 8 hours, it was after 8 hours on duty, no matter if you were driving or loading or getting fuel or anything on duty. But then it silently changed. All of a sudden, when you go into your logbook, you can see that it doesn't count on duty in those 8 hours. So it was changed only to 8 hours of driving that you have to have that 30-minute break. So that's one of the biggest things that they changed recently for the hours of service, for the ELDs. They also kept changing the 34-hour reset rule, because it used to be long time ago, from the very beginning, that well, not from the very beginning, but for a long time, it used to be that you would have to have a 34-hour break in order to reset your whole week, whether it's 60 or 70 hours per week. So after 34 consecutive hours, you get a reset, and you can have another 60 or 70-hour week. But then they came up with a stupid rule where you cannot have, I think it was like, you cannot have more than one of these breaks within that period, or within something like that. So you wouldn't be able to get a 34-hour break and then get 70 hours available, and then you drive for 2 days, and then you do another 34-hour break, and then you get another 70 hours available. You were not able to do that. They wouldn't let you for some reason. I thought that would make more sense. Like, you get 2 rests for 34 hours. Therefore, you can get a reset. No. But then they changed it back to having to be able as many 34-hour resets in a time period at any time. It doesn't matter. So they changed that. So there has not been a change in hours of service for a long time. But right now, they're trying to pass, I don't know if this article says that or not. Let's look for that. No, this is old. This was a recent news. But they're trying to change from 10 hours in sleeper berth or 10 hours off duty to 8 hours. They want to change that rule to see if the driver can have 8 hours in sleeper berth and then get their 14 hours again after that. I know that was one of the things, and they're also trying to get rid of that 30-minute break rule. So we'll see if that happens. ELD mandate, because there should be some articles that talk about that. Yeah. See if we can find it. This is 2 weeks ago. Sorted by date. Okay, here we go. When will the spot market rate up as China is front loading before the 3 months is up? I'm pretty confident. I have been wrong before, but I'm pretty confident that at least in a month or so, we should start seeing some better spot rates. It's not going to be anything crazy, because I wanted to talk about that in a second here. Well, let's prolong this. It's 1 p.m. here, so we can, talk a little bit more. Okay, truckers, I promise I will talk about it in a minute. Truckers sent Trump administration long list of rules to rewrite or kill. Oh yeah, and of course this is only available for, whatever. That was... Nah, I hate when they do that. So it was mostly 8 hours in sleeper berth versus 10. and it was mostly about killing that. I shouldn't say that on a YouTube, because YouTube doesn't like that word. Unaliving the 30-hour, the 30-minute break. I think, Berskis, you can easily run 10 trucks. I can run 10 trucks for sure, but the problem is it's I do other things as well. You know, I do a lot of support for drivers. I do everything safety, payroll, problem solving if you know, if it involves something other than a load. You know, like a dispatcher would work with the driver, and if they have a problem, the dispatcher would resolve the problem as far as the loads go. But other problems, I also work with that. And then, of course, we have the YouTube channel. I have onboarding, I have recruiting for new drivers. So I couldn't really deal with that many trucks right now and stay sane. Here's what I wanted to talk to you about. Look at this. Spot truck posts were... There has been a 10% difference between last week and the week before that. And we already see brokers complaining and crying how carriers are demanding, you know, better rates when it's all about partnerships. And we did see, all of us did see some good rates, and not just good rates, but also we were able to ask for more freight without brokers hanging up on us or listing us, giving us a freight guard report. Because right now they will do freight guard reports for anything. So imagine if the number of trucks on the road and you know, in the industry was smaller than 10% than what it's right now. If we were to somehow cut, not even 10%, maybe like 5%. A 10% is not, I mean, if you look at the number of the trucks, you know, it's a lot of trucks. But if you look at the, you know, percentage-wise, 10%, it's not that much. Imagine if we had 10% less trucks on the road at all times right now. What would that do to the trucking markets? It would make a big difference in prices as far as negotiation goes, and the profits. I have this guy calling me twice. I have to answer. Halo. Ali, sam live sam. Zato se ne javljam. Ko je? A nije još počelo onaj. Nisu još završili. Ok, aj. Oh, sorry. Okay, imagine that. 10% less trucks. I went to, if we go to DAT, and where was that? Okay, if we go to rate view, resources, I think blog. Oh yeah, this is another thing I wanted to talk about. But let's go to stories. I saw a story here on DAT. They're saying that in April 25, just a month ago, there were 49% more new trucking authorities as opposed, I think, to last year in April. 50% more. Who's opening up these trucking authorities? Why would you start a trucking authority in markets like this? I mean, okay, let's say it's the same number, or it went down a little bit, or maybe up a little bit, but 50% more trucking authorities started in April this year as opposed to last year in April. I think that's what the news was. I'm trying to find it because I don't want to say something wrong. I think it was in their blog here. Stories for carrier. These are just their reports. I don't know where it was. But it was on DAT. Why would you start this many trucking authorities? And how is that going to go back to that 10% less trucks? How is that going to go down if we keep opening up these new authorities? I just don't understand. Okay. Here's big news. Mike Beast is tired of trucking. Well, we have to do something, you know. Thanks for the stream. See ya. See ya, buddy. Outgo is a factoring company that was purchased by the DAT. So I know DAT used to have OTR when you go to the loads and you look up the loads, and then they would have this check mark for OTR and see if it, let's see, this is factorable. And they had this integration with OTR. Okay. Freight factoring. Outgo. See, now they already changed it. Because now they want you to use Outgo. I never heard of this factoring company. I have no idea. I mean, there are thousands of them out there. Maybe hundreds. But they claim that they don't have long-term contracts. I don't know. I'm sure even if this was a good factoring company, I'm sure DAT is going to find a way to screw it over. Right? So I don't know. If you are interested in working with a factoring company, check out neverstoptruck.in. I'm gonna bring it right here, and I can hook you up with someone that has been in business for 40 years, and you know, you can count on their experience and the way they vet brokers. And they have some, I also use their fuel cards, Fleet One with RTS discounts, and they have up to 65 cents per gallon at Flying J and Pilot. If you go to neverstoptruck.in and then you click here and you can just submit, and I'll connect you to my rep at RTS, and they can build a deal, exclusive deal for you. If I don't live in USA, where can I find online job? It's going to be very hard to do that. I really wouldn't know, Robert. How much does the factoring company take? The new one, I don't know. They said like something as low as 1%. That's what they showed here. But when they say as low, I can't find it. Where was that? When they say as low as 1%, then that really that's maybe if you have like 100 trucks or something like that. So I wouldn't trust that advertising. But yeah, you can contact them and see what they have to offer. But yeah, they did change to from OTR to Outgo. I mean, OTR, it was just integrated with DAT, but now they have their own factoring companies. Like I said, I'm sure something is gonna go wrong with that, because DAT they had a power DAT load that was very functional. Everyone loved it. and they found a way to screw that over. This is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking. Come back for more here. I usually try to do these live streams on a Wednesday, so whenever I have time, maybe I'll just come in. It's hard to set a schedule for that because something comes up in trucking all the time. You know, there's a problem, someone comes into the office, I have to go somewhere. So it's really hard to have a schedule. So I can try to pop in the mornings. Thanks everyone for being here and watching this channel. And if you have questions, we can talk about that anytime. Thanks everyone for asking and being here. Like this stream, like other videos on the channel, and comment, share them. That will give the channel some exposure. What's the average rate for driving this week? I think it was just below $2 per mile. Where was it here? We didn't get to that part because I kept talking. I talked too much. If we scroll down here, let me go back here to this screen. So if you scroll back down here, for May, the current van spot rate is 1.97. It was just over $2. February it started going down, and here in May it's just a little bit up. It's more than April, but we still have 12 days to go. The flatbed rates, the average is 2.58, and the average for the reefer is 2.35. So they are going up, except for the drivings. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Spicer. We hope you're gonna get your truck soon and start working with us. And thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys later.